Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Nishit Kumar and with me is Naresh Mago with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to deliver keynote address at the inaugural of the Grand Challenges annual meeting through video conferencing tomorrow. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate crosses 88%. Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan says there is no shortage of medical oxygen in the country. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar stresses on importance of people's cooperation in reducing air pollution. Supersonic cruise missile BrahMos successfully test fired from Indian Navy's indigenously built stealth destroyer INS Chennai. And in IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders defeat Sunrisers Hyderabad via super over at Abu Dhabi. In another fixture, Mumbai Indians playing against Kings 11 Punjab in Dubai. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and stay protected by following these three simple steps. Wear face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will deliver the virtual keynote address at the inaugural function of Grand Challenges annual meeting GCAM 2020 tomorrow. GCAM has fostered international innovation collaborations to address challenges in health and development for the last 15 years. The GCAM 2020 will convene virtually from tomorrow till the 21st of this month. It will bring together policymakers and scientific leaders calling for deepened scientific collaborations in solving global health problems with great emphasis on COVID-19 with an India for the world framing. World leaders, eminent scientists and researchers from all over the globe will join this meeting to discuss key priorities for accelerating progress in the post-pandemic world and elaborate on addressing the challenges to manage COVID-19. The three-day brainstorming program will feature leaders' talk, panel discussions, and virtual informal conversations on various topics. These topics will range from scientific interventions for fighting the pandemic, managing the pandemic, and accelerating the development and implementation of global solutions to combat present pandemic and prevent future one. Approximately 1,600 people from 40 countries are expected to take part in this meeting. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the Centenary Convocation 2020 of the University of Mysore through video conferencing tomorrow. The Karnataka Governor, along with other dignitaries of the university, will be present on the occasion. The University of Mysore was established on 27th of July in 1916. It was the 6th university in the country and the first in the state of Karnataka.
In a remarkable development, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate has crossed 88%. The government said the total number of recoveries has reached over 65,97,000. Presently, the total number of active cases in the country is 7,83,000 and the case fatality rate is at 1.52%, which is one of the lowest globally. In the last 24 hours, more than 72,000 COVID patients have recovered and 61,871 new cases were reported. The total number of positive cases in the country is over 74 lakhs. 1,033 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the toll to 1,14,031. Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan today said that there is no shortage of medical oxygen in the country. The minister was interacting and responding to queries on social media in the 6th episode of Sunday Samvad. Dr. Harsh Vardhan said the current oxygen production capacity of India is around 6,400 tons per day.
The oxygen production capacity of India is around 6,400 metric tons per day, and the government is ready to scale up the production capacity in order to meet any further increase in demand arising due to the pandemic. So far, we have delivered 1,02,400 medical oxygen cylinders to states and UTs. Recently, at the request of Empowered Group 2, the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority has issued instructions for fixing the price of liquid medical oxygen. Guidelines on rational use of oxygen for management of COVID-19 have also been issued.
Dr. Harsh Vardhan said the Ministry of Health is also monitoring the availability and supply of medical oxygen at the field level through regular video conference with the state nodal officers. He appealed to people to observe extreme precaution in view of the upcoming festival season.
Chain of festivals until mid-January, and that we need to exercise extreme caution during this period. Our beloved Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has talked about starting a Jan Andolan to ensure that people follow COVID-19 appropriate behavior during the festive season. Taking these precautions will ensure our own health as well as the health of the nation.
A total of 3,299 new cases of coronavirus infection were reported in Delhi during the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to over 3,31,000. Delhi government said that over 3,01,000 people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 2,863 people have recovered and 28 deaths were reported in the national capital, taking the toll to 6,009. Presently, the total number of active cases in the national capital is 23,292. In Uttar Pradesh, all arrangements are in place for the reopening of schools from class 9th to 12th from tomorrow after coronavirus-induced lockdown. The guidelines for Standard Operating Procedure (SOP) in this regard have already been issued by the state government, and the school authorities have been asked for strict compliance of the COVID protocols. More from our Lucknow correspondent.
After more than 7 months of closure for corona, the classes in school will commence in 2 shifts. Only 50% of the total class strength will be allowed on roster basis in a day to maintain social distancing. As per guidelines, classes 9th and 10th will hold class in the first shift, while the 11th and 12th classes will attend school in the second shift. The written permission by the parents or guardian will be compulsory for student to attend the school. No student will be forced to attend school. The schools will have to follow COVID guidelines strictly with social distancing and compulsory face mask along with the use of hand sanitizers and thermal scanning of the students and teachers. After every shift and before the start of the classes, the room would be sanitized. All the students will sit at least 6 feet apart during the classes, and if they come to school by school buses or other vehicles, it should also be sanitized properly. MS Yadav, AIR News, Lucknow.
Kerala reported more COVID-19 recoveries than positive cases today. The state confirmed 7,631 new positive cases, while 8,410 people recovered from the infection in the last 24 hours. The total number of active COVID cases in Kerala is 95,200. Meanwhile, 22 people succumbed to the infection, taking the death toll in the state to 1,161. After a hiatus of almost 7 months, monorail in Mumbai is back in the service of Mumbaikars, while the metro train is resuming its service from tomorrow. This will give relief to the commuters to some extent who are facing a lot of hardships due to the non-availability of suburban rail services for commuters who are not part of essential services. Although both the services will be run in a phased manner with COVID-19 SOPs, here is more from our Mumbai correspondent.
As Maharashtra is witnessing steady decline in COVID-19 cases, the public transport services like Mono and Metro are allowed to resume their services after prolonged break. Monorail today resumed its services with 2 slots, the first one between 7 am to 11:40 am and the second one between 4 pm to 9:24 pm. Passengers are being permitted to travel only while wearing proper masks, and they are being requested to cooperate with the monorail staff by maintaining social distancing and following necessary safety instructions. Similarly, Metro Railway in Mumbai is resuming its services from tomorrow. However, the trains will run with limited number of passengers to maintain social distancing, and the number of services will be limited in the initial phase. The commuters who do not clear the health checks, including a temperature check, will not be allowed to enter the metro. Both the services are adopting contactless ticket system, and QR code based tickets will be issued to the commuters. Shailesh Patil, AIR News, Mumbai.
The Telangana Governor, Dr. Tamilisai Sundararajan, has appealed to people to wear masks, maintain hand hygiene, and keep social distancing to break the chain of COVID-19 infections.
COVID is still there. We have to live with COVID, but we have to celebrate our celebrations. So as our Honorable Prime Minister said, it's Jan Andolan, a fight against COVID. So let us fight the COVID by wearing masks, by washing our hands, by maintaining the physical distance, so that we are protected from COVID and we are fighting against COVID. Let us be protected and live safe and happily.
Former cricketer Gopal Sharma has appealed to people to follow COVID protocol and maintain proper social distancing to prevent the spread of the virus.
दोस्तों, जैसा आपको ज्ञात है कि हमारा भारतवर्ष या पूरा संसार कोविड-19 से बराबर संघर्ष कर रहा है, जिसके लिए आपको सावधानियां बरतने की आवश्यकता है। 2 गज की दूरी जरूर बनाएं, मास्क जरूर पहने और साबुन से हाथ बराबर धोते रहें, जिससे हम सब लोग सेफ हैं, सुरक्षित हैं।
The News Services Division of All India Radio, in its bilingual live phone-in program tonight, will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Dr. Aparna Agarwal, Professor of Medicine, Lady Hardinge Medical College, will participate in the discussion. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold Channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1800 115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011 2331 4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to deliver keynote address at the inaugural of Grand Challenges annual meeting through video conferencing tomorrow. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate crosses 88%. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan says there is no shortage of medical oxygen in the country. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar stresses on importance of people's cooperation in reducing air pollution. Supersonic cruise missile BrahMos successfully test-fired from Indian Navy's indigenously built stealth destroyer INS Chennai. And in IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders defeat Sunrisers Hyderabad via super over at Abu Dhabi. In another fixture, Mumbai Indians playing against Kings 11 Punjab in Dubai. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR's News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
अरे भाई, सुना तुमने? अरे इस मुश्किल समय में सरकार ने हम कामगारों की मदद के लिए एक और बड़ा कदम उठाया है।
कौन सा कदम?
पात्रता के नियमों में छूट के साथ ESIC ने अटल बीमित व्यक्ति कल्याण योजना के तहत मिलने वाली राहत राशि को बढ़ाकर दुगना कर दिया है। हाँ,
अच्छा, पात्रता की शर्तों को पूरा करने वाले जरूरतमंद बीमित व्यक्ति राहत के लिए ऑनलाइन दावा www.esic.in पर करें। अधिक जानकारी के लिए अपने नजदीकी ESIC शाखा कार्यालय से संपर्क करें या फिर टोल फ्री नंबर 1800-112526 पर कॉल करें।
ESIC, चिंता से मुक्ति।
Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar has stressed on the importance of people's cooperation in reducing air pollution. In a Facebook Live event this evening, Mr. Javadekar said pollution is an issue in every country and the chief causes of pollution in India pertain to traffic, industries, waste management, dust and stubble burning. He said the problem of pollution cannot be solved in a day and continuous efforts is required to tackle each contributing factor.
पोल्यूशन एक दिन में समाप्त होने वाली चीज नहीं है। इंडस्ट्री में भी काम करना चाहिए, लगातार काम करना चाहिए, वाहनों में काम करना चाहिए, स्टबल बर्निंग पे काम करना चाहिए, वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट पे काम करना चाहिए। बायोमास बर्निंग होता है, ठंड के दिनों में गर्मी लगे इसलिए भी लोग जलाते हैं, तो जलाना बुरा है, ये संस्कार करना है, वो भी कैंपेन चलेगी। और इसलिए ये सभी कारणों पर लगातार काम करने से ही हमें राहत मिलेगी।
Mr. Javadekar said the government has taken a number of steps to tackle air pollution. He said government took the huge decision to implement BS6 in the country, which will lead to decrease of pollution. He further said that from now on, only BS6 vehicles will be available in the markets as they reduce pollution as compared to BS4. Union Minister Prakash Javadekar has said the transition to BS6 standard is another revolutionary step in mitigating of vehicular pollution. In a tweet, Mr. Javadekar said BS6 fuel reduces nitrogen oxide emission by 70% in diesel cars, by 25% in petrol cars, and reduces particulate matter in vehicles by 80%.
In Bihar, 203 nominations have been cancelled in scrutiny for the second phase of assembly elections in 94 seats. 1,717 candidates had filed their nominations, and out of this, 1,514 have been found valid. A maximum of 12 nominations have been rejected in Hajipur Assembly constituency. So the valid nominations have been reduced to just 18 from the overall 30 nominations in the Assembly constituency. In Siwan district, the Raghunathpur Assembly seat also witnessed a large number of rejections. After the rejection of 11 nomination papers, the number of valid candidates is reduced to 6. The Dharauli Assembly seat, which also falls in Siwan district, all the 4 nominations have been found valid. This is the lowest number of nominations in any constituency for the second phase. Tomorrow is the last date of withdrawal of candidature. Polling will be held on 3rd November for the second phase. Meanwhile, campaigning is underway in full swing in poll-bound areas of first and second phase of elections. More from our correspondent.
Senior party leaders and star campaigners of all the political parties are busy to garner support of people for their party candidates. JDU President and CM Nitish Kumar held public meetings jointly in Chausa and Nawanagar with senior BJP leader Sushil Kumar Modi and VIP Chief Mukesh Sahni. Mr. Kumar said he will push Bihar to new heights of development. Addressing a rally in Jagdishpur, he said new industrial policy will be implemented to check migration. Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad held rallies in Kaimur and Chenari. He said people of Bihar know track record of RJD, that how badly they ruled in their 15 years of tenure. RJD leader Tejasvi Prasad Yadav addressed rallies in Shekhpura, Jamui, Suregarha and Mokama. Mr. Yadav said the major focus of Grand Alliance is on providing employment to youth. Senior Congress leader and Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh, Bhupesh Baghel, alleged in Patna that NDA government is anti-farmer. The CPI-ML General Secretary, Dipankar Bhattacharya, said in Muktapur in Samastipur district that his Grand Alliance will work for better education and employment in Bihar. Dharmendra Kumar Rai, AIR News, Patna.
Lok Janashakti Party LJP President Chirag Paswan today reiterated that his party will support the BJP but not the Nitish Kumar-led Janata Dal United in the Bihar Assembly elections. Talking to reporters in Patna, he said LJP is committed to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision. Mr. Paswan's remarks came at a time when BJP leaders have repeatedly backed Nitish Kumar and said that their alliance is with the JDU. Mr. Paswan announced that LJP will not form any alliance with the RJD Congress after assembly polls.
BrahMos, the supersonic cruise missile, was successfully test-fired today from Indian Navy's indigenously built stealth destroyer INS Chennai, hitting a target in the Arabian Sea. The missile hit the target successfully with pinpoint accuracy after performing high-level and extremely complex maneuvers. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh congratulated the Defense Research and Development Organization DRDO and Indian Navy for the successful launch. DRDO Chairman Dr. Reddy said BrahMos missiles will add to the capabilities of the Indian Armed Forces in many ways. BrahMos as a prime strike weapon will ensure the warship's invincibility by engaging naval surface targets at long ranges, thus making the destroyer another lethal platform of Indian Navy. In Maharashtra, 5 Naxalites were killed in a gun battle with police in the forest of Goswami in the border areas of Korchi and Dhanora blocks of Gadchiroli district this evening. Police and C-60 commandos from the Garapati Police Help Center were conducting a joint anti-Naxal operation when Naxals opened fire on the police. As soon as the police responded befittingly, the Naxals escaped through the dense forest. The police have informed that while inspecting the spot after the gunfire, bodies of 5 Naxals were found. Rescue and relief operations are in full swing in rain-ravaged parts of Telangana, Karnataka and Maharashtra. In Hyderabad, relief works are underway in the low-lying areas and flood-hit areas of the city. People in rain-hit residential colonies are facing problems for the fifth consecutive day today following heavy rain yesterday. The colonies which were flooded following a breach in a tank in Balanagar are submerged under 6 to 10 feet of water. Meanwhile, the disaster response forces are evacuating more people from low-lying areas as the Met officials issued an orange warning of heavy spells of rainfall at some places in Hyderabad and surrounding districts for the next 3 days. Our correspondent has filed this report.
Police and revenue officials are reaching out to people of rain-affected areas of Hyderabad in boats to take them to safety.
आप लोग अपने घर से बाहर निकले और बोट आपके घर के तरफ है। आपके घर के पास बोट आ चुकी है। मेहरबानी करके आज से 21 तारीख तक कंटिन्यू बारिश है। मेहरबानी करके आप अपना घर छोड़े। अगर आप बालकनी से आवाज देंगे आपके घर तक पहुंचेंगे और आपको सही सलामत आपकी मंजिल तक पहुंचाएंगे।
This is Golconda Police Inspector Chandrasekhar along with his team from a boat appealing to people living nearby Golconda area of Hyderabad. Many teams like this are visiting local areas, especially in low-lying areas, appealing them to come out for relief camps as floodwater not yet receded, and further Met officials predicted and warned people of heavy rains. Local authorities are shifting people from more areas to safety. Meanwhile, dewatering and desilting activities by disaster response teams gained momentum and 24/7 health camps have been set up at over 100 locations in and around Hyderabad. Mobile health teams are also visiting low-lying areas. According to Director Health Dr. G. Srinivas Rao, COVID testing facilities have been kept available at all relief camps. Meanwhile, the state authorities are distributing CM relief kits which include essential commodities and 3 blankets each. With MVR Sharma, Lakshmi, AR News, Hyderabad.
The flood situation is still grim in the 4 districts of Karnataka. Krishna and Bhima rivers are in spate as the army, the national and state disaster response forces evacuate the marooned people. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa has said that many villages in Kalaburgi, Vijaypura, Yadgir and Raichur districts were either completely or partially submerged due to flood caused by heavy rains last week. He will undertake an aerial survey of the affected areas on October 21st. More from our correspondent.
Due to release of excess water downstream from Maharashtra, 157 villages in Afzalpur, Jewargi, Chittapur and Shahabad in Kalaburgi district are affected. In Kalaburgi, the water discharge from Sona Barrage touched 8.20 lakh cusecs today. Some residential areas of Afzalpur city have gone under flood water. A team of soldiers have been sent to the town to rescue the people. A high alert has been sounded in Raichur with the rescue teams ready to evacuate people from 17 villages near Gurjapur likely to be flooded by Bhima and Krishna rivers after release of water from Sona Barrage. According to the Karnataka Disaster Monitoring Center, 36,290 people are evacuated from villages near Bhima and Krishna rivers in Kalaburgi, Vijaypura, Raichur and Yadgiri districts. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
In Maharashtra, widespread damage has been caused to the standing crops due to incessant rainfall in Sangli, Satara and Kolhapur districts. The state's agriculture and revenue departments will undertake the Panchanama to assess the damage that has been caused to the standing crops. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, on the concluding day of the 2-day Autumn Festival organized by the Directorate of Tourism Kashmir, advisor to Lieutenant Governor Bashir Ahmed Khan teed off the golf tournament at the picturesque Lida Valley Golf Course at Pahalgam today. Around 80 golfers from J&K and outside the Union Territory participated in the said tournament. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
While teeing off the tournament at Pahalgam today, advisor Bashir Ahmed Khan interacted with the golfers and sought their feedback. He also flagged off a mountain bike rally, which was attended by 30 mountain bikers. The rally started from Lida Valley Golf Course and passed through Vaisaran and Aru Valley. 10 trackers also undertook journey of the new trekking trails. With this, the 2-day-long Autumn Festival at Pahalgam has come to an end. The Autumn Festival is a part of the promotional campaign launched by Tourism Department of Kashmir after COVID-19 restrictions were withdrawn and SOPs relaxed. Recently, a team of officers of the Department of Tourism visited Kolkata as part of promotional activities to revive the tourism sector, which was hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Webinars were also organized by the Tourism Department of Kashmir with tour operators of Gujarat and Maharashtra in an effort to revive the tourism sector in Kashmir Valley. This is Sunil Kaul for AR News from Srinagar.
This is All India Radio giving you the news.
देखिए फिल्म जगत के कई मशहूर कलाकारों के साथ भगवान श्री राम के जन्म स्थान अयोध्या से रामलीला डीडी नेशनल पर लाइव 17 से 25 अक्टूबर रोज शाम 7 बजे से रात 10 बजे तक और इसका पुनः प्रसारण 18 से 26 अक्टूबर डीडी भारती पर सुबह 9 बजे से दोपहर 12 बजे तक और दोपहर 3 बजे से शाम 6 बजे तक डीडी नेशनल पर।
India is playing a constructive role in enriching the agenda of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. India's ambassador to China, Vikram Misri, today said this in his remarks at a yoga event attended by officials from the member states of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, in Beijing. More from our correspondent.
The yoga event was part of many events to mark India's presidency of SCO Council of Heads of Government. It witnessed vibrant participation of ambassadors of SCO missions in China and Chinese officials. Mr. Misri noted that India's association with SCO countries is a bonding born of shared history, shared culture and shared interest. He said yoga is a part of India's contribution to strengthening cultural cooperation among SCO countries.
In enriching the agenda of SCO and many initiatives proposed by India in the fields of economics and trade, startups, healthcare, science and technology and culture have been supported by SCO members. I once again thank the SCO ambassadors gathered here for their cooperation and support in this regard.
The International Day of Yoga is celebrated every year in many cities all over China. SCO Secretary General Vladimir Noro also participated in yoga event and appreciated its role in promoting people-to-people interaction among SCO countries. Anshuman Mishra for AIR News, Beijing.
In Afghanistan, at least 12 people were killed and more than 100 injured in a suicide car bombing in the western Ghor province this morning. The attack took place near a police office in Ferozkoh area. Tariq Aryan, spokesman for the Interior Ministry of Afghanistan, confirmed this in a tweet. The spokesman further tweeted, holding the Taliban responsible for the blast.
In IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders defeated Sunrisers Hyderabad via super over at Abu Dhabi this evening. Chasing a target of 164 runs to win, Sunrisers Hyderabad ended at 163 for 6. Skipper David Warner with 47 runs not out of 33 balls was the highest scorer for Hyderabad, followed by Johnny Bairstow with 36 of 28 balls. Earlier, Shubman Gill with 36 of 27 balls and Eoin Morgan with 34 of 23 balls guided Kolkata Knight Riders to 163 for 5 in the stipulated 20 overs. In another fixture, Mumbai Indians were 122 for 6 in 17 overs against Kings 11 Punjab at Dubai when reports last came in. Earlier, Mumbai won the toss and opted to bat first. And now, let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The temperature in the national capital Delhi will hover between 18 and 34 degrees Celsius. It will have mainly clear sky. In Mumbai, the sky will be generally cloudy with light rain. Chennai will witness rain or thunder showers towards evening, or night temperature will hover between 33 and 23 degrees Celsius. On to the north, in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 16 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 35 degrees. The city will have mainly clear sky. Temperature in Srinagar will hover between 5 and 26 degrees Celsius. Leh in Ladakh will witness minimum temperature of -5 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 20 degrees. Gilgit will experience mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between 4 and 29 degrees Celsius. In Muzaffarabad, there will be mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature will be 11 and the maximum 32 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 17 and 32 degrees Celsius. The city will have mainly clear sky. And now, before we close, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to deliver keynote address at the inaugural of the Grand Challenges annual meeting through video conferencing tomorrow. Country's COVID-19 recovery rate crosses 88%. Health Minister Dr. Harsh Vardhan says there is no shortage of medical oxygen in the country. Environment Minister Prakash Javadekar stresses on importance of people's cooperation in reducing air pollution. Supersonic cruise missile BrahMos successfully test-fired from Indian Navy's indigenously built stealth destroyer INS Chennai. And in IPL cricket, Kolkata Knight Riders defeat Sunrisers Hyderabad via super over at Abu Dhabi. In another fixture, Mumbai Indians playing against Kings 11 Punjab in Dubai. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.